Deputy Minister of Arts and Culture, Ms. Noncawe Mafu, MEC of Health in Limpopo, Dr. Phophi Ramathuba, Chancellor at Wits University, Dr. Judy Dlamini, Principal and Vice Chancellor of UNISA, Professor Puleng Linkabula, President of the 19th Episcopal District Women's Missionary Society, Mrs. Reshokwetsu Museu, Her Royal Highness Princess Circulate Dlamini, Chairperson of the Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke Institute, Mr. Thulasizwe Makhanya, members of the CMMI board, Mr. Mukwetsi Maxeke and Mrs. Olga Sema, CMMI ambassadors, distinguished guests and awardees, members of the media, viewers online, everybody who's joining us. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Phemelo Motene, and welcome to the 4th annual Bring Her Up Women of First Awards presented by the Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke Institute. This is a moment to celebrate women, you, women who continue to the backbone of this country in all sectors of our society. We honor not only your excellence, we recognize your interest in our communities and spaces that you occupy. Your interest in the use of your career to benefit our society is very, very important. You have the spirit and the courage of Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke, the first Black female university graduate to hail from South Africa. Here is her story, followed by student activist and author, Ms. Zuleika Patel. Good morning.
I was born to John Hope Manya and Anne Manci on the 7th of April, 1871, and grew up in Fort Beaufort in the Eastern Cape. My father hadn't gone to school but would encourage my siblings and I to better our lives. His shortfalls were the seeds of my ambition, and I yearned for the day I would return back to the mountains of my father's village and teach my people. My siblings and I attended Edwards Memorial, a missionary school, where my thirst for knowledge and a burning desire to be educated and to educate was fueled, not only by my teachers, but also by my mother, who had chosen teaching as her vocation in life. In 1885, my father began to attend night school. At the same time, he converted to Christianity and became a lay preacher at the local Presbyterian church. We became churchgoers, and the seed of another of my great callings, my evangelism, was planted. In 1891, my sister Katie and I joined the African Jubilee Choir. Our love of music and religion took us to England, where I learned about women's rights from Emmeline Pankhurst, and more importantly, the right to vote. Our choir did well, and we were invited to tour Canada and the States. I felt America could offer me access to the education I've been wanting all my life. And with the help of Bishop Turner from the African Methodist Church, I was accepted to Wilberforce University near Xenia, Ohio. Wilberforce University was Black-owned and managed and catered mainly for Black students. The institution was aligned to the African Methodist Church that had its origins in the Free African Society that advocated for social equality for Black people. While studying towards my Bachelor of Science, I witnessed incredible leadership and began to see a different future for myself. One in which I could not only teach my people, but one where I could lead them too. In 1903, 2 major milestones took place. I became the first Black South African woman to graduate with a university degree, and I married the love of my life, Marshall. We returned to South Africa with the intention of making a difference and being instruments of change. For about a decade, we focused mainly on our evangelistic pursuits and I participated in King Sabata Dalinyewo's court in the Transkei, a privilege unheard of for a woman. My husband and I started the South African Wilberforce Institution in Everton, an establishment that has survived both Marshall and myself. In 1912, we found ourselves in Bloemfontein, a group of like-minded people who wanted to change the world came together to form the African Native National. I became a strong proponent of changing the social and political situation of black women in South Africa, and used every opportunity I had to raise the profile of women's rights. Who would have thought that today you'd be learning about a young girl from rural Eastern Cape named Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke? What made my story different from that of my sisters, my neighbors, or fellow students? A supportive parenting environment, a value-based upbringing and a Christian worldview, mentorship and access that would afford me opportunities within which I could represent, as well as win the respect of my fellow countrymen and women. In a time where many of my achievements were improbable, the impossible was made possible, and I was able to rise. I have always believed in the principle of, if you rise, bring someone with you. And this is our vision for the Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke Institution. I have shared my story with you in the hope that it may inspire your buy-in and motivate your support of our vision. I pray that you'll be among the first of many who will join us in our endeavor to create opportunities for our daughters to lead and to shine. There are many among us who have begun to make their mark in history. I believe there are many more waiting to rise and for the opportunity to excel. My name is Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke. I was the first black South African woman to graduate from university with a degree. My story does not end here.
My name is Mme Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke, and I am one of the first women to be the chairperson of an electoral commission. My story does not end here.
My name is Sibongile Rejoice Sambo. I am the first South African black woman to start an aviation company in the private jet space, providing helicopters and private jets. My story does not end here.
My name is Asnath Mahapa. I'm the first black South African woman to acquire a commercial pilot license. My story does not end here.
My name is Dr. Musawenkosi Donia Salrombe. I'm the youngest female PhD graduate in Africa. My story does not end here.
My name is Riboni Bella Mudisha, and I am the first black woman to qualify as a PGA golf professional. My story does not end here.
My name is Zuleika Patel, and I am a black female activist at the forefront of decolonization within schools and black radical feminism movements within the country. My story does not end here.
My name is Michelle. I am 9 years old. I've published 2 books, and I'm the youngest author in Africa. My story does not end here.
continuing story that did not end in 1939. And we are the authors of her story, which is going to continue to emancipate women and girls of this country, this continent, and the world that we live in today. And as her ascendants and the authors of her never-ending story, we have the responsibility to ensure that the mountain that she built, which we stand on today, we have the responsibility to ensure that the women that will walk after us stand on a mountain even higher than the one that we stand on today, to see a vision much clearer than the vision that we see, to see a vision further than what we see. And through that, we can do that through us being her ascendants and ascending from the path that she paved for us and rising whilst bringing someone with you. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please another round of applause for activist, author, Zuleika Patel. Now, please help me also welcome Principal and Vice Chancellor of the University of South Africa, Professor Puleng Linkabula, as she reflects on education for every girl and every boy child. A round of applause, please.
Molweni, Sanbonan, Dumelang. Good morning. The energy I thought would have been a little more inspiring. For I understand that in our African philosophy, but also in the spirit of the one we are told by Zuleika we are ascendants of, our own forebear who inspired us, Mme Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke, that in our African philosophy and that notion of Ubuntu, when we greet one another, especially in the context of the pandemic that our MEC and many others in our country are helping us to contend with, that we would do it with joy and appreciation of the gift of life. Good morning. So, Pimelo, thank you very much. You've already acknowledged the protocol, and I'd like to align myself with the protocol that you've shared. Colleagues, I'm truly elated to have been invited to coming this morning to sharing with you some insights around the imperative for education for our country, continent, and the contribution of Africa's knowledge systems, civilizations, and particularly the roles of women in creating resilient institutions that enable our society to claiming for themselves the freedom and emancipatory processes, projects, ideas, philosophies, knowledges, and educational systems that are aimed at ensuring that the dignity of humanity, but especially those who are undermined, the women whose voices are erased, silenced, muted, yet they're in the forefront of creating political, social, economic, and ecological systems that are transforming. I was particularly appreciative that in the request for us to reflecting around the roles of education, particularly for women and girls, and in solidarity with our communities and the African boy child, that we drew on the spirit of Mme Charlotte. I think it's very important for us as African scholars to understand and to claim the feminist or womanist pioneering work of Mme Maxeke, for she enables us to understand that education does not separate us from our communities, but instead education is that which must be harnessed to ensuring that we create progressive interventions in our societies for the better. Amilcar Cabral, the former president in Guinea-Bissau and Cabo Verde, reminds us that the quest for education is often to ensure that it liberates us even from our privileges. It enables us to understanding the contextual exigencies of our societies, and therefore it reminds us that it cannot be separate from the quest of change of society, but also our political agitation for such change. And in this way, when I refer to the idea of education and its political impulse for change, I do not mean just participation in the party political spaces, but the party political spaces become sometimes the lever for harnessing that. And this is quite important because, as reflected in the story, in the journey of Mme Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke, part of her emancipatory contribution to this country, but also to the global arena, was looking at the intersectionality of the agitation and the quest for freedom in South Africa, in the United States, in Europe, understanding the global nexus of the efforts of undermining the dignity of Africans, of women, and in particular of the socio-economic disposition. I come here as the first African Black woman who has been appointed as the Vice Chancellor of the University of South Africa since its founding in 1873. I come at the back, and in the words of Mme Maxeke, it should not stop here. We must ensure that many women will take responsibilities of leading higher education systems in South Africa, but also the continent and the world. But I come representing a university that started a little bit before Mme Maxeke got her degree. A university whose mission must be and continues to ensuring that it becomes a partner to the South African educational and emancipatory knowledge development, dissemination, and innovations, particularly because in our world today, the Gini coefficient, or the separation between those who are economically privileged and those who are on the margins, is quite high. And Mme Maxeke says, we cannot just watch these developments. We must be the radical agents who use the gifts of our knowledge, but expertise in order that we change the world. But I also hear saying, we must love our families and our societies to the extent that such families become the unit of agitation for freedom, emancipation, and for ensuring that education is integral to the development and success of our country. Finally, I hear and see in the journey of Mme Maxeke, in the church and society, in political agitation, in educational system, one who sees these particular sectoral aspects important. It therefore implies that in the churches must not just be the opium, as Marx asserts, but the churches must be the communities of emancipation that speak truth to power and form people as participants in the society, as Mme Maxeke showed us. But it is also in affirming the contributions of women. Mme Maxeke is a resilient institution that has overcome centuries, and we must ensure that in the future, that her legacy continues to manifest such that women, girls, boys, and Africans are proud for institutions that are meant to contribute for the betterment of the dignity of Africans in the world, but also at home. Thank you.
Thank you. Don't leave, Prof. Thank you. A real round of applause, please. Prof, I'm going to ask you to stay because you're going to help me here as we begin with our very prestigious awards. It is fitting that we present this morning's very first award in excellence in education category. And it will be handed by you, Prof, so please help me out here. It is for Ms. Bila Ndirangu, joined the African Leadership Academy in 2021 as the first non-founder CEO in their history. The Academy is a pre-university schooling for 16 to 19-year-olds located in Johannesburg with an alumni in over 46 countries. From leading the highly successful Kenyan-based Africa's Talking Technology ecosystem, she is now a leading woman in education and seeks to transform the African continent by identifying, developing, and connecting the next generation of African leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the stage as she's getting ready, Ms. Bila Ndirangu.
Good morning, everyone. As you heard, my name is Bila Ndirangu. Very new to South Africa. I'm originally from Nairobi, Kenya, born and bred in Kenya, but very much identify myself as a Pan-African citizen because I do recognize that this continent is interlinked in more ways than one, and the success of one country is the success of the continent, and the failure of one, in many ways, reflects as a failure of the rest of the continent. And so I'm really honored to be here. I mean, this is such an amazing way to be welcomed into the country. I literally just joined the Africa Leadership Academy a few months ago, and just working on my South African move, so just got my work permit and residence permit a few weeks ago, and I'm now starting to enjoy and learn my life as a bona fide South African to the extent that I can be part of it. But just the one thing I would like to say is when I saw the award, and the reason I was very keen to be part of it is something that was written on the invitation, which was something that Charlotte had said, this whole idea of not living for oneself. The whole idea of knowing that if you live outside yourself, you bring others with you. But if you live for yourself, then it results in the selfishness and the stuff that we've seen happening on the continent and has led us to the places that we find ourselves in. And so lastly, I'll say my vision for the young leaders that I lead, what I'm looking to educate is they can follow in Charlotte's ways of thinking, which is when we make room for others, then we live in a better world. When you don't make room for others, then the world goes down the drain. And I think if we can have young people starting to think like that from the minute they're, as young as possible, then I think I have a better hope. And when I think about this continent's future, I'm a lot more hopeful. And but yeah, once again, thank you so much, and thank you, everyone. God bless you.
Thank you, Ms. Ndirangu. Thank you very, very much. Now, our next category is in Excellence in Agriculture Awards. The pillars of the Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke Institute are education, empowerment, and legacy. And part of its empowerment program, CMMI runs a school farming skills program to teach learners to grow food for themselves. Now, this morning award recipient in this category from Eshowe, KZN, is Sinethemba Nzunza, and she finished her matric in 2012 and enrolled for a degree in political science and community development, followed by honors in public policy and masters of commerce degree. Now, when she lost her job, she became part of a country's youth unemployment stats. She made a decision and took out her savings, went back home, started a farming business at home. Sinetemba now grows spinach, red speckled beans, potatoes, tomatoes, cabbage, green peppers, with a solid market in schools, school nutrition programs, hawkers, local supermarkets, and the local households. Please help me welcome on stage, ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Sinetemba Nzunza.
Oh my goodness. This is a dream come true. You know, growing up in the rural areas, when it's time for summer awards, metro awards, and you'd be like, okay, one day. And indeed, this is a dream come true for me. Okay, yeah, it's really happening. No, I'd really like to thank the Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke Institute. I'd like to mostly appreciate the people back at home, my customers, my family, because I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for my customers and the people who support me every day. You know, as program director has mentioned, all my qualifications are out of agriculture. Now, as you grow up and face challenges, you then realize that you meet your very own destiny and purpose in life. And growing up, you think, when I grow up, I want to be a doctor, I want to be this and that. But as you grow and you get out of your comfort zone and meet challenges in life, they draw you towards your truest purpose. And I'm where I am today, not yet where I want to be, but I'm very much content and comfortable to be one of the women that can strongly stand and say, I indeed embody the values, the beliefs, and the characteristics of Mme Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke, because I strongly believe in disrupting the status quo. I believe in addressing the stigma around agriculture, because agriculture is associated to a certain race, to a certain gender. So now, as a young woman, coming from the academic space, coming from the work environment, and then starting something that I strongly believed in, and then working towards it, I'm where I am not because of any education, but because purpose. I had a vision, and I believed. You know, there's so many challenges in agriculture, but when you strongly believe in what you're doing and you believe it is your purpose in life, nothing, and I mean nothing, will ever disturb you. In whichever field that you're in, whether you grew up thinking that's what you want to be in, or life has steered you towards that, but continue working. Our story doesn't end here, it continues. And we may also pass on the baton to the next generation, as Maxeke did, and may it continue. Amandla, oh my goodness,
Congratulations, Sinetemba. Our next category is Excellence in STEM Awards. It is obviously, STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. A social entrepreneur with a passion for science, uLindiwe Matladi, is one of the continent's leading women in tech. Founder of Africa Teen Geeks, which has been grown to become the largest computer science non-organization in South Africa. Lindiwe is driven by the belief that no child should be left behind by the tech revolution. Her mission to bring science into children's classroom, underprivileged children especially, and in girls in particular. Please welcome to stage Ms. Lindiwe Matladi.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know I was supposed to give a speech, so I was sitting there trying to think, I must say something very smart. But I'm really honored by this award and the recognition. It means a lot because I work with a lot of children from previously disadvantaged communities, and some of them who grew up like me. I was raised by my grandparents, like many kids, as an orphan. And you didn't see a lot of people that were successful in academics. And I actually, my grandfather went to school with me in night school when I was doing grade 1. And we used to read together outside, and I used to read the Bible for him, and that's, but he instilled one thing for us was if we stayed in school, he used to tell us, you will never even remember that you were an orphan. We could get away with anything except not going to school. If you were sick, he'll tell you, because he was a pastor, put your hand wherever it is and believe God you're healed. So as to say yes, then go to school. And that has been such an important thing for me, because I also realized that for many kids, they may come from that environment, but they don't have that person that, inspires them. My grandfather will go to a funeral and meet a teacher and meet a lawyer. He will always bring that person to us to actually show us what could happen. If you meet somebody with a car, in those times, it was very rare to have black people with cars, especially where I come from. So he will bring that person and say, see, you stay in school, you will also drive a car. So that meant so much, but I also believe that, opportunity dances with those already on the dance floor. And most of us, if we don't create, we always talk about the importance that, in our government has created a lot of opportunities, but there's so many kids that even those opportunities are there, they still can't access them. And for me, it's been, as we develop these programs that we do, especially us in social innovation, it's not just about having an opportunity, it's how do you make sure that every child or every person who deserves, who has the capability is able to access it. So to come here and, learn a lot about Mme Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke, what, she believed in, and it's really something that I really believe is that, some of us who are lucky enough to rise to the levels where we are, it's our responsibility to send down the ladder to make sure we can bring as many people with us. Thank you for this.
Thank you. The next award is in Excellence in Medicine and Research Awards. Biomedical scientist with a doctorate from the University of Stellenbosch, Dr. Caroline Boole spends hours in the lab behind a microscope looking at samples. Her main research interests are in drug-resistant TB, TB drug discovery, and TB surgery. Her research focuses on understanding biology of drug-resistant TB will lead to the development of novel drug. We do want to welcome on stage for this particular award, Dr. Caroline Boole, please.
Whoopsie, sorry. Oh, it's here. Yeah, great. Okay, everyone, I just want to oh, my dress. Sorry about this. But I mean, it's okay with all this happening because we're still celebrating the best day. So I am still excited because women rise and bring others up. So yeah. Okay, great. So I prepared a speech. I'm a very passionate person, as you can see, and I'm a bit funny too. That's why maybe what just happened, but I really want to share the speech, and please give me a moment. Firstly, it is with great honor to receive this prestigious honorary award of excellence in medicine and research. I remember when I got an email, I was at work. I just had to go and check some of my samples. And I kept saying to everyone, oh my word, is this for real? So I was so stressed. I was so happy. And I remember calling my family, my family and I was crying. And then the security was listening because it was echoing. And she said, what's happening? I'm like, don't worry, it's just, I'm seeing what I'm doing, it is really paying attention. And it's also like making a difference. And then with this, I just want to say this couple of words. I want to thank God for being with me throughout this marvelous journey I've been in growing as a medical scientist and a philanthropist, for a saving heart and a giving heart full of compassion He has blessed me with, and the love for helping towards saving lives, improving public health, and seeing a disease-free nation. The passion I carry drove me into my purposeful career that I believe God has called me into. And today, as we celebrate, I give Him the glory. Secondly, I want to thank the Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke Institute for this Excellence Award, and I feel honored to be counted among Mrs. Maxekele's legacy, as she was indeed a phenomenal woman. And I was so amazed when I read about her that she did break the barrier in the field of science and academia by being the first woman to graduate with a university degree in South Africa of BSc from Wilberforce University of Okio. As I do echo words from one of my favorite quotes from her collection, I quote, "This work is not for yourself. Kill that spirit of self and do not live above your people, but live with them. And if you can rise, bring someone with you." What a powerful quote by Mrs. Maxekele, which resonates with my philosophy in wanting to see others achieve greatness and reaching their potential. I also want to thank my family, close friends, and mentors for always believing in me and my wildest dreams, never giving up in me, and always being my pillar of strength. I want to thank CPUT, Stellenbosch University, and South African Medical Research Council for grooming me into the young medical scientist I am, and UCT for seeing my potential and allowing me to develop and grow as a scientist. The journey continues, and this is a message that I have for young girls. I want them to know that it's never too late or a waste to keep fighting for your dreams. It's all worth it. Never give up because you have an extraordinary breakthrough waiting for you. Trust God and pray for direction and provision, because your dreams are valid and God has put them in your heart for a reason and for a purpose, and He keeps His promises. It doesn't matter what family you come from, a rich family or a poor family, you can be that scientist that you want to be, a mathematician, engineer, technologist, and only if you believe in yourself, work hard, run the extra mile, and keep moving forward. Because you can do it, you've got what it takes, you are great. If you want to be somebody, if you want to go somewhere, you better wake up and pay attention. I thank you.
Dr. Caroline Pule, thank you and congratulations. Now, this next award is Excellence in the category of Public Health. Mme Malan is a founding editor-in-chief of Bekisiza. She has 25 years of journalism, fundraising, institution building experience in media and digital native publications, working in newsrooms and at media development organizations in Johannesburg, Nairobi, Washington, D.C. as well. Malan has grown Bekisiza from a specialist desk at a legacy outlet to an independent nonprofit publication. Bekisiza has been playing a critical role in informing us of factual and current news in the midst of uncertainty and chaos of COVID-19 pandemic. Please help me welcome Ms. Mme Malan.
I too didn't know that I had to make a speech, so I hope I make sense today. So when I was a young journalist, my first job ever was at the SABC in the Eastern Cape. And I grew up in Cape Town in a very Afrikaans community that didn't really teach me where I came from or where other people in my country came from. And ending up in the Eastern Cape meant that I could go to rural communities in the former Transkei, and that is what taught me where I lived and how my country, it made it meaningful to me. Telling health stories there, of course, meant that I needed an education, a little bit of understanding of science and policy. But that dedication, of course, came much easier for me than for most of you in this room, and it was mainly because of my skin color, because I could go to a school that had all those things that could equip me. But the real education for me to understand how my country works came from rural communities and from people without degrees, from rural women who had patience with me to tell their stories and help me understand how my country works. So education for me is more than a degree. It's about what you can teach people about life and what you can teach someone from a different background like I came from to help them understand their country better and make it more meaningful. And acknowledging someone like me today who had a head start in life because of my skin color says more about the Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke Institute than about me. It says they're greater than me. And I'm therefore really humbled and thank you and very honored to receive this today. Thank you.
Thank you. This next award recognizes excellence in community building. Where Rainbows Meet is a Cape Town-based community support organization that has responded to the worsening COVID-19 food crisis. Their Food for COVID-19 program has helped over 10,000 people in the Western Cape within the Vrygrond community. They provide resources to an additional 30 kitchens active in Steenberg, Lavender Hill, Remvansmark, Overcome Heights, Hillview, and many other areas. Please help me welcome the person behind this wonderful initiative, Ms. Scholz, Mme Scholz.
I didn't know that I had to make a speech as well. I think we're all so nervous and excited, but I think we all are a Charlotte. The work that we do, it's a bit emotional for me. When I started Rainbows, it wasn't appreciated. It was, I was pushed away by my own communities. It was very negative in the beginning. Nobody wanted me in the community, that I didn't belong. I was an outcast, by my own people. I had to question myself. I had to ask myself, where do I belong? And yet it's my own people. I had to work 10 times harder to prove myself worthy of being part of a community that I'm a part of. I didn't expect this. I went full force in a community that I had to work hard and prove that I'm worthy of being part of them. Today, I am so well respected in that very same community. I believe in building people. I believe in taking women with me. I believe in taking everyone that wants to develop themselves with me. I am Charlotte. I'm an ascendant. My story, it doesn't end here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We're not wrapping yet, but we do want to take a quick break as we welcome to this year's National Women's Month Deputy Minister in Sport, Art and Culture, Ms. Nungawe Mafu, as she gives us a talk titled, "The Unity of Women Will Change South Africa."
Thank you so much, Program Director Phemelo. Distinguished guests, you have all been acknowledged. You look beautiful, by the way. Our Ds, the women of firsts, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. For me, it is indeed an honor and a privilege to be in the midst of all these beautiful sisters who have made huge strides from different walks of life, making a difference in their communities and our country, South Africa. I'm very proud to be a South African right now when I consider your achievements and the fact that on your shoulders, all South African women stand, including me. Congratulations are in order, therefore. I take a moment and think about the woman you are being awarded in her name, Mme Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke. And I think about her on this particular day and month and year, the fact that this week has been very difficult for us as South African women, the fact that we waked up every day, either on our TVs, on our radios, listening to stories about gender-based violence, listening to stories about a young girl, Nosicelo, who has been dismembered, who was in her 4th year, listening to a story about a woman who was pregnant, who was found in Crocodile River in Mpumalanga, listening to a story about a woman in Springs who has been killed, pregnant by her boyfriend, listening to a lot of stories. And I think and I wonder, what would have Mme Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke would have done, knowing her that she is a kind of woman who was never in the shadows, a woman who made sure that she stood up, she became counted, a matriarch, a queen, a revolutionary, a feminist, and a gender-based violence activist, and a person who made sure that she fights patriarchy wherever it reared its head. Women of this country have come a long way when we consider the struggles of women from time memorial. We are coming from a point where we spoke of triple oppression of women, namely racism, sexism, and classism. And we know that Mme Charlotte Maxeke fought all these wherever they come in her way. Underpinning all of this is the system of patriarchy. I cannot overemphasize how this system has psychologically affected women. This system has left women in general with low self-esteem. We will remember Madiba in the first parliament in 1994 when he addressed, and I quote, "Freedom cannot be achieved unless women have been emancipated from all forms of oppression." I am sure he said this so mindful of the challenges women were still to face as we are facing them today. I really want to quote again, as I know all of you now are familiar with the story of Mme Charlotte Maxeke, and all of you have got areas that you like in her story. But I really want to quote this quote, and I know all of you know it and you love it. But I thought it's important for the awardees and every woman in this room to actually remember this and take it to heart. And I quote, "This work is not for yourselves. Kill that spirit of self. And do not live above your people, but live with them. If you can, rise. Please bring someone with you." Close quote. And I think for me, the work of Mme Charlotte encompasses everything if you can understand this quote. And I thought it's important that as you remember and you take heart in the fact that you are being awarded in her name, remember this, because this encapsulates what we want to talk about when we talk about unity, when we want to talk about what is it that we can make sure that as women, wherever we are, we make sure that we are united in fighting and making sure that our voices are being heard. And I really thought that without talking long and making sure that I become a politician, because I'm not, I tried to make sure that I become very short. But I also want to quote another quote, which is on the screen, but that it's not complete. That quote there is not complete. Let me complete it for you. This is not your council. This is what she said when she was addressing the Council of African Women. She says, but the Council of African Women, from here right up to Egypt, do away with that fearful animal of jealousy. Kill that spirit and make sure that you love one another. Close quote. And I thought for me, if I can do these two quotes, I would be doing justice to what I've been told to do. But in conclusion, until we unite, we will not make much progress in bettering our lives as women. We should start to consciously open doors for and empower other women as we go up the ladder. The enemy now is not mainly men, but divisive attitude we adopt as women. We should learn to celebrate progress and achievements of fellow sisters. When we do so, those ahead are able to have confidence to do more without constantly looking over their shoulders to fellow women detractors. Instead, knowing they have the backing of their fellow sisters. With this kind of unity, even when one of us fails, instead of celebrating their downfall, we will be there to pick her up, giving ourselves permission to fail, because we've got a right to fail. Doesn't mean that we must always be successful. This should not be misunderstood to mean blind following, but an environment where we become constructive in our feedback with an intention to grow instead of destroy one another. We will, therefore, need to hold one another accountable to these ideals if we are to see any change. Only when we are united can we make an impact in changing our country for the benefit of our girls. So remember, your stay does not belong here, and it does not end here. Go out there and shine and make sure that you become the women that Mme Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke wanted. Thank you so much.
Deputy Minister, thank you very much. Please don't leave us, Deputy Minister. She's left. I'm going to ask you to come back and help me hand over a very important award. And this particular award is in Excellence in Arts and Culture. The Transformation Stalwart who held many, many spaces in the art spaces. But this particular award goes to the work that she's doing in Artscape Theatre, the first woman of color to take the helm at Cape Town's biggest theatre. Dr. Marlene Leroux is the CEO of Artscape Theatre in Cape Town. She's also a tireless advocate for the rights of persons with disability and youth. She was stricken with polio only when she was 3 months old. Marlene has found freedom on the stage, captivating audiences with her voice of advocacy. She's known for her lifelong journey in the arts and education and believes that the arts are so vital to uplifting the new generation of South Africa. I think all of you who've met her will never forget her. She comes up on stage to receive Excellence, the award in Excellence of Arts and Culture. Dr. Marlene Leroux.
look amazing. You know you deserve this. Over to you.
Thank you, my sister. I am actually so honored to be amongst greatness. These young women that just spoke, I thought, wow, our country is so ready for a woman president. And we can't shy away from this anymore. I want to first of all thank the institution, because this is not just an award. And thank you for Princess Shlamini for coming. Because for our Deputy Minister, Ms. Mafu, it's women that made us where we are today. I come from a background where I only had women mentorships as well. Today, I want to start to dedicate this to my Titi, who passed on of COVID on the 25th of December, who was a single parent who reared me. And she didn't hardly have education, but she had wisdom. I'm also the descendant of Kretua, Sarah Bartman, and an African woman, as I'm standing here. Let us not divide each other, because we have so much that we must go for the next generation to come after us. We haven't arrived yet. My Ma Christie, who worked as an ordinary domestic worker, but had the vision that me as a chairperson with a disability will have an education. The church played a wonderful role, but the church can also fail us. Because we need to say to the church, are you still practicing that women are disempowered and that women must be dismissed? The church must take up again to say, women, you lead because you lead families. I'm not going to talk long, but it's so important that the voice of persons with disabilities must be heard, because it is the forgotten on the agenda. I must not be the only person with a job who has a disability. It must not be. Persons with disabilities are not even sometimes on the agenda to be asked for an interview for a job. We can only go forward when we talk about equality and equity. And with equity, I mean freedom of economics. With a job, it comes with dignity. I have not arrived yet, because none of us have arrived if we still have a young girl in the rural area who has a disability that have no access to education or to health. I want to say, go vaccinate. I didn't have the opportunity. That's why I had polio, because I was not vaccinated because of that time of apartheid. I want to say now, to everybody here, go vaccinate, because COVID is about to be vaccinated, to care for your community and to care for others. That's what to be vaccination. I want to end, to put this to the politicians. Stop fighting. There are issues beyond political parties. Abuse doesn't know color. Abuse doesn't know cultural background. Abuse doesn't know religious practices. We need to stop the surge of gender-based violence. We need to stop hate crime against the LGBTQ plus community. We are all human beings. I'm advocating for a more humane society. Who can do that better as well is artists. Arts play a pivotal role in society to tell our stories, to unite each other, and also in a divided South Africa, so that we can know more about each other. Our stories and our history should guide ourselves. I want to say, let us rather look at what we have in common than rather look at our differences. It is well with my soul, with my soul. It is well, it is well, it is well with my soul. It is well with my soul, with my soul, with my soul. It is well, it is well with my soul. I thank you.
I think we can give her another round of applause. Just a reminder of the times we live in. I think it's very, very important that we acknowledge that we are living in a pandemic, and so many of us have lost loved ones, and it can be beaten. The next award is an award that recognizes excellence in young people. Published author Samridi Gohain is no ordinary writer. She is just 10 years old and is a learner at Kiro Academy in Pretoria. Her first book is called 3 Epic Adventures, and it is now available for purchase at Amazon. How many of you thought you were going to write and have never started writing that book? She is published and on Amazon. I mean, please. It is available as well in hard copy. So some of you have written, but I don't know whether you're in hard copy. Dr. Lamini, hard copy is tough to come by. So she has really beaten a lot of us. It is a collection of short stories that she's put together, including Jupiter, the space frog, Adventures of Blissa, the kitten, and Are Aliens Real? These are some of the titles of the short stories. Her debut book combines her love of animals and passion for space. She now only writes the books. She not only writes the books, but she also gives proceeds to charity. Please help me welcome Samridi Gohain is our excellent award recipient. Would you like to say something, Sami? They're all standing for you. I promise you, it's all for you. The floor is yours.
Hello everyone, my name is Samridi Gohain and I am a learner in Creole Academy Pretoria in grade 4. I'm really grateful for this award given to me. I'm really thankful to the organizers. This is not just an award. This is a blessing from Mme Charlotte to me. I would like to thank my mom, my parents, my family, my friends, and my school teachers to encourage me. I promise that I'll never stop writing books and I'll never stop helping people. And I'll carry on Mme Charlotte's ideology. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Congratulations. Congratulations. So Dr. LaRue said something a bit earlier, and she says, I want to speak to politicians. And I noticed how politicians froze at that moment. Sammy's still getting hugs. So Dr. LaRue said, I want to speak to politicians, and it was a bit tense for a minute there, and she said, stop fighting. And she was right, she was right. But sometimes there are speckles of hope, sometimes there are real gems that I think we can't ignore, even if there are politicians. This next awards is Excellence in Leadership. COVID-19 pandemic hit the entire world and brought about chaos and disruption. And I don't think anything that you and I ever imagined. At these difficult times, we look upon leaders that will face the challenge, and we found that in the MEC of Health in Limpopo, Dr. Poppy Ramathuba. Showed resilience in his response. She officially launched over 20 emergency medical services vehicles, ambulances that is, of which 5 of them specifically were meant for COVID-19. Limpopo achieved 1 million COVID-19 vaccinations. The province has led the largest percentage of adult inoculations so far. She has been a leader on the ground, and we congratulate her. And I mean, I've got lots of stats here about why it's important, but I think there were also very difficult moments. You remember when that plane landed, nobody wanted to step near Limpopo, and everybody was saying she's bringing COVID to Limpopo. And in fact, within her own sectors, nurses, doctors didn't trust what she was doing. They say she's bringing in illness to kill us. She's in rural South Africa, which makes it even more difficult to access healthcare. I was just talking to someone now here, and I was saying, when the programs of breastfeeding were very successful in Limpopo, nobody reported on them because it's just breastfeeding, Mus. I mean, who cares? It's woman stuff. I have a feeling the reason this program is working is because the work that has been done around breastfeeding has actually assisted in the rollout of vaccinations in COVID-19. I could be wrong, it's just my feeling. Please let's welcome Her Excellency, Dr. Poppy Ramathuba.
Thank you very much, Program Director, Pimelo, our Deputy Minister, and I just need to say protocol observed so that I don't miss any of the dignitaries and wonderful women who are here, some accompanied by progressive men. I think I must indicate that I'm here on behalf of the women in health in Limpopo. I'm here on behalf of Dr. Thokozani Mklongo, who is my HOD, a woman. My DDG for Health Branch, Dr. Dombo, a woman. My DDG for Tertiary Services, who is Dr. Nramato, a woman. Many clinical managers who are women. Many nursing service managers who are women. This month, because this department is led by women, we felt it was important to honor Mama Charlotte. We honor Mama Charlotte as a department by making sure that we perform 150 different surgical procedures across the province for rural women. Last night, when I was discussing with the women team that has put that together, by the way, all those operations are performed by women specialists. Amongst them, they are actually supposed to be here, not me. You speak of Dr. Nechitoni, she's the first Black pediatric oncologist in the country. You talk of Dr. Sidali, who today and throughout the weekend, she'll be leading a team at Mankweng Rural Hospital. She's the first Black female cardiothoracic surgeon. She's still the only one since she graduated in 2019. Very sad story. And in Africa, there are only 3 Black female cardiothoracic surgeons, and she is amongst the 3 in the continent. I'm here on behalf of those women. Last night, we had done more than 132 cases. By the end of this month, our honor to Mama Charlotte, we would have done more than 150 surgical procedures so that women in Limpopo in the rural areas can have a reason to celebrate Women's Month. Because during Women's Month, if you follow us on Twitter and on our Facebook wall, you will see that this is a time where there were women in the deep rural areas with different types of tumors. And by those tumors, they were named witches because a woman cannot have a tumor, a woman cannot get sick. When a man develops a tumor, they say the poor man is sick. When a woman develops a tumor in my province, they say ke moloi. Now we felt as women, let's go out and look for these women and operate them and bring confidence and hope on them. And that is why I'm saying I'm here on behalf of those women. Those women who said on the birthday of Mama Charlotte, they opened a breast milk bank, and in the deep rural of Skukune area, Philadelphia, the second breast milk bank in the province, and name it Mama Charlotte Breast Milk Bank. This is the work that media will not talk about. They can tell you when a man has been amputated a wrong limb, but when women come up with all this innovation, they don't say anything. And the women said to me, I must tell you the foundation, why they are doing this work. It's because if it was not Mama Charlotte who opened the way for us by being the first, especially in terms of science graduate, many of us who are doctors today will not have been, because we had to follow her footsteps to say it's possible for a Black woman to study science subjects. So that is why we honor her by making sure we make sure that another woman can celebrate Women's Day and Women's Month by doing what she would have loved us to do. Now, as I close by the COVID-19, I hope everyone who's here is vaccinated. If you are not vaccinated, you should not be allowed to enter the room. That must be the way to go. When we organize our functions, I think we must move to a level to say, if I'm having a birthday dinner, those who are not vaccinated don't come. I think that's the way to go. We cannot continue to allow those who have got anti-vaccination message to occupy social media because we are afraid of them. When you start to raise to say, no vaccination, no mujolo, you get attacked. We will continue to raise because you know what is very sad with our last message of mujolo slaps when both of us are protected. When I follow up, I think Milan will assist me, when I trace those who are anti and are insulting and attacking, They are not the 18 to 34 years. I've followed that and I've followed your profile. It's the 35 to 59 years. And these are the sugar daddies who are afraid that MEC is empowering the girl child so that she rejects them when they are not vaccinated. So that is what I've seen happen. The 18 to 34 years have been sharing my posters and saying, there we go, MEC. We have not spoken about Malapa slaps. Then you will challenge me because you who are 35 to 59, you are about Malapa. I'm talking about Mujolo because I'm talking to the 18 to 34 years. So we will continue to work together because if you look at the science, that message is just simplifying science. Science is saying to us, those who are unvaccinated, the virus, you have become the factory hub for the virus to continue to mutate and different variants develop. So when you are next to me and you are not vaccinated, I'm sitting next to a factory hub of this variant. As we are moving towards the fourth wave, this hub is going to manufacture the variant which might even be more transmissible, worse, even more virulent. And when that happens, we have seen what AstraZeneca did. Because another variant came, we end up not having to use the 1 million dosages. So when you are unvaccinated and you are closer to me, you are a factory hub of those variants. So that is why you only come closer to me when you are vaccinated, because I'm sure me and you won't be the factory hubs of this variant to mutate. Thank you very much.
Okay, MEC, let's help those who are 60 and above who don't know what you're talking about. It's on Twitter. It's on Twitter. It's a tweet. She's talking about Mjolo. And it's very simple. If you want Mjolo, go vaccinate. Or nothing. It's kind of like, you know, the entry level. If you want to knock, please show me your certificate, is what she's saying. We continue with our Excellence in Leadership Award. And the World Bank said the Auditor General's offices in only 2 countries, South Africa and Seychelles, were the only 2 among 118 institution studies that had very high independence in the world. According to the Supreme Audit Institution's Independence Index Global Synthesis Report in 2021, which studies 118 Supreme Auditor institutions around SA and the Seychelles, were the only 2 that met this very prestigious criteria. We want to congratulate today the South African Auditor General, Ms. Tsakane Maluleka. She's going to come through on video for us.
Greetings. I am pleased to join you this morning. How I wish I could have been there to join you physically. However, I am pleased that I can join you virtually whilst the circumstances beyond my control make it difficult for me to be there in person. I am thrilled to receive this award for excellence in leadership. I received the award with utmost humility. And I accept the award as recognition, not only for my own efforts, but as recognition for all women who continue to push and lead the way for women participation and empowerment in all walks of life. I'm here because of the 3,500 AGSA men and women, individuals who discharge their responsibilities with diligence and commitment. And whilst the outside world sees me as their leader, I must pause and say that all that we achieve as the National Audit Office is due to the hard work and resilience of the individuals in the office that help the institution fulfill its constitutional mandate. This award could not have come at a more opportune time in our country as we celebrate Women's Month, where we recognize the courage of the women of 1956 who confronted the then regime demanding their rights. They have paved the way for all of us to carry the baton and to build a democratic system that empowers and recognizes women as endowed with capabilities and strengths to lead in our society. I'm privileged to be honored in the name of such a phenomenal woman, Mme Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke, who stood for equality and for a just society, one that recognizes men and women as equals. She showed resilience and commitment for the upliftment of women, and we must emulate her by empowering each other and by looking out for the well-being of the girl child, the child who still experiences hardships and barriers to realize her potential. I accept this award in her honor, and I commit myself to the pursuit of women empowerment in our accountancy profession and in society. I will strive to inspire younger women to believe that their dreams are valid and that what they wish for is possible. Thank you to the Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke Institute and those who saw it appropriate to recognize me. The struggle for the total liberation of women can only be achieved when abuse, rape, and femicide are defeated. Let us all gain the courage to fight the scourge and make the world a better place for all women and all young girls.
The next award recognizes excellence in business. Now, Dr. Aisha Pando is an award-winning scientist in PhD in human genetics, a business management graduate, and the co-founder of Sweep South. We celebrate her continuous success and impact on online platforms for booking home cleaning services, not only as a business that employs thousands of women who support their families, but also women who support startups as well in the technology industry. To accept the award on her behalf is Ms. Nobukosi Sukhola.
Hi, everyone. I was just told to come and collect the award, but when I got here, the ladies said to me, no, you have to give a speech because we unfortunately cannot post the video from your boss. So I just put together a few words on behalf of Aisha. It is an honor and a privilege standing here on behalf of Dr. Aisha Pando and the Sweep South family. I can confirm that the work that Dr. Aisha Pando is doing is aligned with the vision of Mama Maxeke of Bring Her Up. It is empowering women by creating dignified working conditions for domestic workers. The work that Sweep South and Dr. Aisha Pando is doing is really touching a lot of lives, and it continues to touch a lot of lives every day. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. So just to go back slightly, we do have someone who is here to accept Zatkane Maluleka's award, and I want to just please ask that we please welcome on stage Ms. Bongile Lubambo, who will receive the Auditor General's Award on her behalf. Speech.
Good morning, everyone. I don't think it will be appropriate to add anything to that beautiful and inspiring welcome speech from the AG. Mine is just to say I'm really honored to be accepting it on her behalf. Hopefully it will rub on me someday. And also accepting it on behalf of the men and women of AGSA. Thank you so much.
That in itself is good enough. Thank you. All right, there is a special award presentation that we're going to start now. For the 150th celebration of the year of Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke, the Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke Institute presents an award to women who have led in the perspective of legacy of Mme Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke. From scholars to religious leaders, this is a moment we honor you. We first played the awardee of this category are featured in the Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke documentary film For the People, launching in the date of her passing, October the 16th. There will be a video that I'd like us to play.
The young Charlotte then told her father that she was going to go abroad, acquire education, and then come back to educate people and also established schools. This she did. So this is a young Charlotte who very early in her life exhibited features of someone who had this drive, this inner drive to change, to bring about a change, changing other people's lives and impacting positively.
Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke was very good, and then when she was joined by her sister Malibisi, the teachers discovered that they are good in music, they can sing, both of them, and they encouraged them to be in the choir to sing while at the primary level. He was so proud about them, because the two Mannya daughters were very, very good. They were good in the classroom, they were good with music, and it is through the father. That determination was still there. Their father didn't want to hear anything about a child who is not educated. He wanted his children to be educated, well educated.
That is the one thing that was left with me, that as her enthusiasm, a constant enthusiasm, which I've picked up through speeches she's made and things she said, has led me to the conclusion that she was very, very enthusiastic about, growing through education.
It's difficult to find just one word to describe Mme Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke, because I think that her life is so well-rounded and multidimensional. She was a church leader, and she started churches, the AME church. She was an educationist that started schooling and advocated for schooling, especially for girls. She was a family member, she was a social worker, she was a journalist, because she also wrote for newspapers. She was a political activist, she was a trade unionist, the list goes on. And I think that what her life exemplifies is often the case for women leaders, is that you don't have the luxury of having Chinese walls between the different roles that you have to play in your life, whether it's the personal or the political or the private and the public, that all of those things women have to manage at the same time. And I think that the life of Mme Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke shows that in a sense the difficulty of doing that, but the importance of living a well-rounded life.
Holding Mme Maxeke's position has been a humbling honor to me, especially young as I am. Why am I saying that? Like I said, I'm the president of the 19th Episcopal Women's Missionary Society. History has told us that this is the first women's organization in the church, which was founded by Mme Maxeke. So to me, it's an honor. I feel a blessed child to be sitting and standing on giants' shoulders like that of Mme Maxeke.
When we started the Maxeke Mqwetho annual lecture, for me it was important to remember the name of both Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke and Nonzizi Mqwetho, to also run away from these silos and how we remember women, but to also say once a year we reflect on how these women are remembered and how their ideas continue to have currency.
The formation of the organization was in Bloemfontein in 1937. We understand that there was a meeting of men and women there, and in that meeting, when they came to the area where they had to choose the office bearers, there were misunderstandings of the whole people there. So the women felt this is just a waste of time, and then they went out, led by Minor Soccer. And amongst them, yes, Mme Maxeke was there, and they formed this National Council of African Women.
The Charlotte Maxeke African Women's Economic Justice and Rights Initiative has 6 flagship programs. The first one is the Charlotte Maxeke Africa Future Leadership Development Program targeting young people. The second one is Minister's Annual Breakfast, which is targeting ambassadors in South Africa. The third one is the Charlotte Maxeke African Women's Leadership Award. The fourth one is the Women's Training Program on Economic Justice and Rights. We will also have the African Women's Trade Fair, and we will also now have the Fellowship Program, which is a prolonged training program for women in the continent.
Now the recipients, thank you, a round of applause. I do want to call on stage the recipients of the special award, and I want to call Dr. Atambile Masula. President of the Women's Missionary Society, AME Church. Rishoketsu Museu. Dr. Tozama April as well. Please come on stage for your special awards, please. I'm going to leave a mic here as well because I want to give you an opportunity to also say your speech.
When Dosh asked me to send my bio and a 2-minute thank you, I wasn't quite sure what she was asking. But as a dutiful member of CMMI, I sent it anyway because I was like, if Dosh wants something, I must send it. What I didn't realize is what she's just shown me. And sorry, I'm just really emotional. I wasn't expecting this at all because when I started this work, it just felt like the right thing to do because people were telling us that women like Mme Charlotte Maxeke didn't exist, women like Mme Charlotte didn't exist, women like Mme Minor didn't exist. And for me to find not only all this information about them, but to see how they've written themselves into history, it is such a betrayal of their legacy when we walk into classrooms and people are not teaching their work. And so my job as a lecturer, I spent the first half of this year teaching a course on transnational women, and I couldn't teach that course without talking about Mme Maxeke, Mme Katie Makanya, Mme Mina Soga, and many other women, Mme Adelaide Tanzi, Mme Nogutela Dube. All their names are littered on these tables. They mean something. And it wasn't so much that they traveled, but they traveled and they did something. They started organizations. So when I say I am Dr. Atambile Masula, what that means is that I have to do what Mme Nogutela Dube, what Mme Charlotte Maxeke did. I cannot just have a PhD because it's cute. I have to have a PhD because it means something. And I'm really, really grateful to the CMMI for giving me the space and partnering with me in being able to do that work. I started the Asinakutula Collective because of the words of Mme Nonzizinkgwetha, Asinakutula umhlaba ubolile. We cannot keep quiet when the world is in shambles. And I joined it together with the name of Mme Maxeke to do the Maxeke Mqwetho annual lecture, because it's also important to see that these women were friends, that these women were peers, that it's not enough to simply talk about one, but we have to talk about them in community. And so it's such a privilege for me. Thank you so much.
Great joy, humility, and honor. It is with great joy, humility, and honor that I receive this award, understanding that the work is all divine. To have such an honor bestowed upon myself is a feat which leaves me astounded. Yet all that one can continue to say is, to God be the glory. Allow me to extend words of gratitude, Putulas, to the CMMI Institute for this immense honor. It has been a joy of my missionary service thus far to work with you in reclaiming the glory of the beloved matriarch of the Black freedom and of the African Methodist Episcopal Church. In December 2019, I was appointed to the role which I currently serve as the president of the 19th Episcopal Women's Missionary Society. It would never have been possible without the godly judgment of Bishop E.L. McLeod Jr. and Supervisor Russell McLeod Esquire, who reminded us we are better together. And further, remained the wind beneath my wings in the mission of the service, in reclaiming Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke. And because God is not man that he can lie, his plans are forever good plans. It was seen fruitful that we get a new bishop who's been a month with us or so, who continues with the legacy of Charlotte, Bishop Ronnie Elijah Brailsford Sr. and Supervisor Reverend Caroline Elizabeth Brailsford, who reminded us then, yes, we are better together, but we are a TEM, which is a team. Together, everybody achieves more. And so this award is as a result of their love, their dedication and support of our work, and I thank you, my leaders. But in extension, I want to thank the Women's Missionary Society and the 19th Episcopal Reverend Clergy and the contingency of people who have continued to support this vision of reclaiming Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke's legacy. In your service, you never sought to shun anything that the president has brought, but walked this journey and have continued to walk this journey with the vision and dreams of the president. Let it be known that these strides are treatment to what and testament to what we can do when we come together to reach new beginnings. In conclusion, to my husband, my sons, my mother and my spiritual mothers, Bomama Lodi and them, Judge President Leo and them, and to my entire family, thank you for the honor. Thank you for teaching me what is correct. Thank you for supporting this dream. Thank you for never questioning, to my family, the journey, but continuously pouring into my cup my service to the best of my ability. It has been said, to understand and walk effectively in this journey, one has to know the imperative of the past, like a Sankofa bird. It flies, but the head is at the back, looking at the past so that it can know its future. The work that we seek to do is not for self. It's not for self. It is the work that has to ensure that our future and present remain glorious, because we have come from great works of Mme Charlotte onward to enlightening. And that is why the 19th Episcopal had to do a pin of Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke that will identify us when we go to the connectional meeting, that will live with us, and the proceeds go to education and assistance of the pastors. Onward to enlightenment and onward to a prosperous future. In my famous words, SMS, sanitize, mask, and keep your social distance. I thank you and will continuously love you. Amen. And vaccinate MEC.
Yo. Greetings to the House, distinguished guests, Deputy Minister in our midst, ladies and gentlemen. I'm speechless. The CMMI has been a dream come true. When I started my research, I did a PhD on Mme Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke. And my journey with her story began in an undergraduate class at the university where I studied. We were being introduced to a broad survey of histories of women who had contributed to the struggles against discrimination in Southern Africa. It was a broad survey of case studies of women who were advancing the cause of justice. And in that literature, I came across studies that referred to Maxeke and acknowledging her contribution to South Africa. But what was significant in those stories was that they concluded that Maxeke's work was inconsequential. It is then that I took interest in her story, wanting to know more about her, to know how is it that someone who had contributed so much to society, but the conclusion is that her work was inconsequential. It is then that I took interest in her story. But just to cite a few things about Mama Maxeke, she's quite an amazing character. As historians, when you go through archives, you get attached to the historical figures that you study. But what was unique about her is the paucity of available research on her. There's very little archival material on her. Much of the archives of Mama Maxeke are dispersed in different parts of the world. So that was unique, that reflects the character. She is an internationalist, someone who had a broader perspective of the world. That is one character. But also, when you come across her in an archive, she has a very strong archival experience. She's so strong that when you hear her speak, it is as if you are in a conversation with someone that's alive. So other people are probably asking, like my fellow colleague has said, you guys are making this story up. But what is unique about her is that finding those tangible, evidential pieces of information that reflect that she was indeed here. Now, listening to today's speeches, I mean, a lot of people who had gone before me, there's an aspect of Mme Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke that comes alive. A lot of people sang, Doc, leading us there. Mama Maxeke was an eloquent speaker. She was a speech writer, a composer of hymns. Now, these characters, they reflected in today's presentations. I mean, a lot of people that came here, they just burst into song. And to me, that was an immediate connection, because that was my plan, that I wasn't going to make a speech, I am going to sing. Because upon receiving this award, I was taken to a moment, I imagined a moment when Mama Maxeke and her fellow South Africans, Magazo and Khadisi, many, there were about 4 that enrolled at Wilberforce in that year, the winter of 1895, when I was imagining a moment where they walked through the corridors of Wilberforce. They were probably singing a song. composed by none other by Uti Yosoga, Liza Lisidinga Lako, Thixo Nkosi yenyaniso. I was taken to that song, which translates in English, fulfill thy promise, O God of truth, truthful God. Now I want to just to cite the last paragraph, the last stanza of that song. Bona izwela kowethu uxoleli izono zalo ungayithobi ingqumbo yakho luze luvusa polwakho. That is Mama Maxeke retelling to us in song, because there's an aspect of Mama Maxeke. There's her legacy in the arts is there, but also most importantly in the time of COVID, Maxeke introduced the concept of care. She introduced the concept of care in hardened political climate, where the state of South Africa at that time was only working in statistical surveys. There was a broad onslaught on women in particular in urban centers, where they will calculate the number of women in urban cities to say they shouldn't be in urban cities, they should be at home. So Mama Maxeke introduced a concept of care. She said the state must take care of its citizens, take care of women, take care of children, take care of the marginalized. I think that's the message that Mama Maxeke gives to us this morning. I thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask that we just play a little bit with the program, just because of time constraints. I'm going to ask that the chairperson of the Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke Institute, Dr. Thulasizwe Makhanya, to come up to on stage to give us a bit of an introduction to special guest, Dr. Judy Dlamini. Mr. Makhanya? Oh, I couldn't see you there.
Greetings, thanks, Program Director. Greetings to everyone in the room. All protocol observed. My name is Thulasizwe Makhanya, the chairperson of Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke. We have a special award today. As the team was identifying those who should be awarded today, this one from the chairpersons, which we call Chairman's Award. I take myself out of the seat and think about the person we're honoring today, Mme Charlotte Maxeke. And if she was around, she would have she had her own people that she worked with, but now there are women that are making strides in their own spaces. And this morning or today, I think it is proper for us to honor Dr. Judy Dlamini as a chancellor of one of the most important institutions in the world. Wits University, but also her work in education. She has done a lot in education, and it's one of our pillars as an institute. We focus in empowering young girls, young women through education. So it's an honor for me to call on stage Dr. Judy Dlamini to receive an award.
Good morning. I think it's good afternoon now. Pimelo, our program director, the chairman of Mme Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke, Dr. Makhanya, deputy minister, the MEC that I follow and have a lot of respect for, colleagues and everyone who's here. I listened to the awardees showing their talents, and I was like, I don't think I belong here. I can't sing. I can't sing to save my life. But this is so special. You know, this award is so special. It feels like sitting on the floor with Mme Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke on a chair, saying, "You have to do this, my child. I opened the way for you." BSc in 1903. Can you imagine? It's 2021, we're still told that women can't do STEM subjects. She charted the way for us. Yes, Zuleka, I am a proud yet humble ascendant of Mme Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke. It's not about us. It's the positions that we hold that have to pave the way for others. The world should be better because we lived. And I really believe that, I'm happy there are quite a few men here. It's my belief that we need to work together to make this world a better place. Women alone can't do it. We work together, men and women. And there are enough men that are progressive. We raise sons and daughters. And it's important that we show a world of unity amongst genders and amongst different sexual orientations. This means the world to me. I commit that I will honor her glory. I will be an ascendant that she would be proud of, because it's not about me, it's about the people that I serve. Thank you so much.
I would also just want to give a little bit of background of who we are, but before that, the woman that we're honoring through the Chairperson's Award, I just want to give a little bit of background. We're honoring her because of her innovative and progressive leadership as a Chancellor of Wits University, her advocacy for women and passion for education. She established the Female Academic Leaders Fellowship Fund, contributing to the gender and racial transformation of the academic leadership at universities. She invested her own money into the fund, an initiative that will ensure that the voice and of women will see full representation in academia and research, a legacy that will last a lifetime. So a little bit of background, Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke Institute was created by three families. The Mannya, represented by Mayor Olga Sema, who's sitting in this table. Maybe we can just, so they can see you. The Maxekes, represented by Moketsi Maxeke, sitting on the table. and the Makanyas that are, I represent the Makanyas. How the Makanya is connected with the Maxekes is through her sister Kate, who got married to the Makanyas in KZN. So this year has been declared the year of Charlotte Maxeke by the government. That has boosted our work, as our focus is to preserve, to promote, and to celebrate the legacy of Charlotte Maxeke. We have what we call a calendar for the year. We started this journey 4 years ago. We've got what we call Charlotte Maxeke Week, which is during her date of birth, which is the 7th of April. We then have the award ceremony, Women of First Awards. These are our annual program. It's the 4th edition this year. Then we will have what we call a Mother of All Golf Days in November. But with the 2021 calendar, it entails, I'm talking about the future now, because we've done a lot already. We'll have a dialogue in September between Charlotte Maxeke and W.E.B. Du Bois. We are having that program. We've partnered Wilberforce University, where she graduated in 1901. In November, we have what we call the Mothers of the Nation, where we honor all women who have contributed to the betterment of our country, the continent, and the world. Also in November, we'll have a Mother of All God Days, where it's a 4th edition. It's a 4th edition this year. 8th of March next year, we'll be launching a Women of First and Women Excellence coffee table. Amongst the list will be the women that we've been honoring for the past 4 years, including some women in the room. It will also have international flavor, where we also extend to African women in diaspora, which is important because also we're dealing with an internationalist here. She connected with the world. We will close our program on the 7th of April next year. I would also want to call upon Dr. Musa Wenkosi, our ambassador, a youngest PhD holder in Africa, to quickly take you through our legacy project, which is a girls' school in honor of Charlotte Maxeke, a girls' school that will compete with the best schools in the world.
Good afternoon, beautiful ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to just say all protocol observed to preserve time. One of the projects that we have underway as the CMMI is the establishment of a renowned girls' school of excellence. Since our mandate as an institute compels us to honor the life of this colossal figure, Dr. Charlotte Maxeke, the school will represent her profound belief in leveraging education to position the girl child as a national and global powerhouse. We know that she led by example. As we've already heard, she was the first Black South African woman to obtain a BSc degree. And such a feat was pivotal in ushering her onto the global stage and consequently allowing her to achieve all the accolades she is well known for today. The land on which the school project will be pioneered was already identified a couple of years ago, and next month there will be a special visit to this site. While we had anticipated to have broken ground by now in preparation for the commencement of the project, we have encountered numerous setbacks due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but we're steadily finding our feet again. We therefore solicit your valuable support in any way you can as we forge forward in ensuring that this project will be a true reflection of Mom Charlotte's life ethos. Thank you.
You. So just for a bit of a breather, and just to remind us that even though some of us can't sing, we can always celebrate those who can. And because I don't want to have the pressure of singing, I do want to bring on stage someone who is qualified to do that. And this is none other than Amanda Black. And let me just tell you quickly, she didn't ask me to do this, by the way. She's dropped an album this week, so please. Amanda Black, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for having me, and protocol observed because of time. My name is Amanda Black, and I'm so honored to be here. And I wasn't going to say anything, but I just wanted to say 2 or 3 words. I'm so honored to be on the stage on this day where we're celebrating women who decided to fight through their fear, to fight through their self-doubt. And I am so proud of you. And to everybody who's listening and everybody who's thinking about their dreams and who's doubting themselves where they are, look at these women. Look at these women. Oh my God, yes. I was sitting there and I was just been absorbing the entire day. And we are here. We fight through fear every day. I salute you guys. Thank you. Something will change for you today, so keep on fighting. Something will change for you tomorrow, so keep on fighting. I know it's been hard this past year, and it hasn't gotten no better. Got his ziba wesi before they get any better. Even bad days got to end, so bambelela kwelote. Nezandubu zenzile, fune kuvuku stolele. Something will change for you today, so keep on fighting. Something will change for you tomorrow, so keep on fighting. Lenhlungu ngokuyo kubanga thungaba we uzivale lendlini akodwa vuka utyhale ngawo ngamandla nawo umntasekhaya. Something will change for you today, so keep on fighting. Something will change for you tomorrow, so keep on fighting.
Something will change for you tomorrow. So keep on fighting. The song is about finding your power. It's in here. It's about you looking for it, being intentional. I believe that I was born for greatness, that I would stand and fight for all my dreams. I never thought my journey would be painless, but I found that life is harder than it seems. See, I believe that I had found a family. I believe that it would be forever. It seemed as though I found my perfect fit. I wasn't ready for the storm that came after. Yeah, kwanzima kodwa ixesha liyaphilisa. I'm gonna fight back, not gonna give up. I'm gonna rise up, I'm gonna stand up, yeah. Kwanzima kodwa ixesha liyaphilisa. I'm gonna fight back, not gonna give up. I'm gonna rise up, I'm gonna stand up, yeah, yeah. Take back my power, inside my veins, power, inside my heart, power, yeah. Inside my veins, power. Namandla, namandla. Oh, ngamandla ngaphakathi kwami. Hey, sajika izinto. You show me your true colors. Kodwa ndenzeni bo? I just can't help but wonder if I deserve all the pain. If all my sweat was all in vain, will I survive through all the rain to see the sun shining again? All I gave wasn't enough for when you got greedy. Wafuna yonginto. Told you ndizophumelela. You tried to bury me. I said my Zulu vuleka. Right now I'm breaking free. Kwanzima kodwa ixesha liyaphilisa. I'm gonna fight back, not gonna give up. I'm gonna rise up, I'm gonna stand up, yeah, yeah, yeah. Kwanzima kodwa ixesha liyaphilisa. I'm gonna fight back, not gonna give up. I'm gonna rise up, I'm gonna stand up, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, I got it. Oh, I got it. Oh, I got it. Oh, Amanda. Oh,
about seeing yourself. This song is about seeing your worth. The song is about realizing who you are. And I feel, Wuti, when we start seeing ourselves, that's when the unity will happen. When you start seeing who you are and what your role is and what your purpose is. Because when you see yourself, you see, oh, okay, this is me. And this is what I'm here to do. And I see a lot of unity happening amongst women once we start seeing the jealousy. We don't have to do nothing. We don't have to do nothing about that. We don't have to correct ourselves. But you do have to question yourself. But when you see yourself, that is when you see the other woman, you're like, oh, we are the same. That's what the song is about. I'm going to sing it one more time, that last part. Hey, Sachigizindo. You show me your true colors. I just can't help but wonder if I deserve all the pain, if all my sweat was all in vain. Will I survive through all the rain to see the sun shining again? All I did, all I gave, wasn't enough for the world. That, ooh. Told you you tried to bury me. I said my Zulu vulega, right now I'm breaking free. Kwanze kwanzima, kodwa ixesha liyaphilisa. I'm gonna fight back, not gonna give up. I'm gonna rise up, I'm gonna stand up, yeah, yeah, yeah. Kwanze kwanzima, kodwa ixesha liyaphilisa. I'm gonna fight back, not gonna give up. I'm gonna rock. Can you sing with me? I'm gonna stand up, yeah, yeah. Take back my power. Inside my veins, power. Inside my heart, power. Yeah. Inside my veins, power. Yeah, yeah. Ngamandla. Oh, ngamandla. Oh, ngamandla. Kaphakathi kwami. Thank you so much.
Wow, Amanda Black, ladies and gentlemen. So I am convinced whoever asked me to do this job does not love me. I'm not supposed to speak after Amanda Black. This is sabotage. No one is supposed to speak after that. Okay, we continue. I think we're running out of batteries. We continue with our program, and this next award is the Excellence in Social Impact Award. She's an artist, a broadcaster, passionate philanthropist. She's been a loud voice in taking action and sharing with our communities in spaces she resides. One of her biggest projects is the 67 blankets for Nelson Mandela Day. I'm sure many of you are familiar with that project. She really has been a pioneer, supporting women who are knitting these blankets to keep people who have very little with warmth and reminder that someone actually does care. There has been a project that she's been leading. It's called Knitwits. We wish her continued success and hope that the project grows from strength to strength. Many of you may know her. If you don't know her, you certainly know of her work. I please would like to welcome on stage Ms. Caroline Steyn.
Thank you for that lovely introduction. Sambonani, Dumelang, Absheni, and Ngiyajabula Ogubalapa. Thank you so much to the organizers and the family for getting me out. I've literally been in lockdown for a year and a half, except for 1 or 2 67 blankets events. So thank you for getting me out of my tackies and my tracksuit. My husband was shocked to see me this morning, dressed up. Thank you for allowing me to be in this amazing company of extraordinary women. I'm honored. I don't feel I belong here, but thank you so much. 67 Blankets, thank you so much for recognizing the work that is being done by thousands of people all around South Africa, around the world, in the name of our beloved Nelson Mandela. Sure, I'm nervous. The most amazing thing about 67 Blankets for me, on the one hand, thousands of people are being kept warmer because of the efforts of our Nitwits for Madiba. In the process, something quite remarkable and beautiful is happening. People are coming together from all walks of life, from all religions, races, socioeconomic backgrounds, men, women, it's children, school kids all around the country are stitch by stitch making blankets for those in need. We are knitting our lives together. We are knitting our nation together. We're knitting nations together. In correctional centers around South Africa, 67 Blankets has been embraced by men, women who are making blankets for people on the outside whose lives have been affected by crime and poverty. Thank you so much. I can talk the hind leg off a donkey, but thank you. This means the world to me. I really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Ms. Caroline Steyn, thank you very, very much. We continue on this vein, and this particular award is Excellence in Social Impact Award. We award Ms. Nicolette Naylor for the work she has done as the Global Director of the Ford Foundation Gender, Race and Ethical Justice Program, for consistently advocating for women's rights and for more better resources for Black women and feminists around the world, providing financial support in the amount of $15 million for the vision of Black feminists who established the Black Feminist Fund earlier this year, for focusing your philanthropy efforts on ensuring that we are significantly increased funding for Black feminist organizations in Africa and around the world. The award recognizes your work and the impact it continues to make to elevate the voices of Black women and feminists across the globe. Please let me welcome on stage Ms. Nicolette Naylor.
Wow. Thank you, everyone. It's amazing being in the room with all of you today. I think it's so important that we celebrate and name the work that we do. And so seeing everyone get this award today has really been important because often our work gets rendered invisible. Thank you for this award. I want to emphasize that this award is not for me, actually. I stand on the shoulders of many South African women that have come before me and those that continue to work alongside me. This is our award. From the dusty streets of the Cape Flats where I grew up to the boardrooms of New York that I now occupy, I am who I am because women believed in me. People believed in me when I was growing up. I also have an amazing team that support me. This isn't only about me. We work collectively at the Ford Foundation to advance the needs and dreams of Black women around the world. This award is also dedicated to the amazing founders of the Black Feminist Fund, Hakima Abbas, Tanisha McHarris, and Amina Doherty. Their vision to set up the Black Feminist Fund is what I want to celebrate. I facilitated the financial resources for the Black Feminist Fund, but the dream of the fund stems from the dreams of women from all over the world, including Africa. Every day I fight to ensure that the development community and the donor funding will reach Black women, Indigenous women, and women of color around the world, particularly in Africa and in the global South. I fight to ensure that the donor community will believe in and support Black women. that we will get the financial resources that we deserve. This remains a significant struggle, but I'm ready to continue fighting for this. Thank you for this award. I think this is a collective award that I want to dedicate to everyone that's worked with me and supported me on my journey. And for me, as a door opens, my duty as a Pan-African feminist is to keep that door open for others. As I'm endowed with power, it's my duty to redistribute and share that power with others. So this is for all of us, and this is for the legacy of Comrade Charlotte. Thank you.
I would like us to go back to the special award presentation that we had just skipped over just because we had other time constraints because Dr. Dlamini had to leave. So let me ask that we continue that particular section of the program and asked on stage, to come on stage, Ms. Charlotte Lobe, Chief Operations Officer at DIRCO, Ms. Phoebe Potgieter, GM African National Congress, Mama Olga Seme, as well on stage. Yes, CMMI board member and author of the upcoming Charlotte Maxeke biography. Yes. I'm going to give them a chance to also say one or two words before we wrap up the program.
I do not know what I have done to receive an award. All I know is that I was doing my work as a diplomat representing South Africa in various institutions, international, alongside people like Nicolette, etc. When I was informed just yesterday that I was going to receive an award, I was truly shocked, because for me, I'm just a South African doing what is best for my country. Now, when I was also asked to prepare something, I said I'm not going to prepare, I was going to sing. Now I have been outsmarted by people who came before me, but the song that I had chosen is important that I sing, otherwise I don't think I will leave the place at peace with myself. So those who know the song, I ask you to join me in singing the song. Mukhosi wala Sohang basadi Musadi utwara Tipaka bohaling Matlaki aruna Musadi uswara Tipaka bohaling Matlaki aruna Watinta bafazi Watinta imbokoto Watinta bafazi Watinta imbokodo pasopa uzokufa Watinta bafazi Watinta imbokodo pasopa uzokufa Side by side women of the world Side by side fight for freedom Side by side women of the world fight for freedom now. Ladies and gentlemen, that's how I thought I was going to pay tribute to my namesake. At home, I always say my sister is named Gertrude, and I'm named Charlotte. So we are proud Pan-Africanist feminists, and we always say we are the ones who inherited the names. So I'm fortunate, and I believe this is a blessing
that I was given the name Charlotte by my parents. I'm told that when I was born, my father and my mother both said she is Charlotte. And I have been Charlotte throughout my life, and I believe that I am representing Charlotte well. At least I managed to sing today. Two, I managed something that I thought could not happen. We started a process of asking the global community to acknowledge and recognize Mme Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke since 2018. This work started when the UN Women launched a program called Generation Equality. When they launched the Generation Equality campaign, we decided that we wanted to use Generation Equality campaign for the global community to recognize one of South African icons. And one of the things that have been humbling, and I've said this to the family many times, is that every time we went into a room and we presented the Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke African Women's Economic Justice and Rights Initiative, of course, Nikki is one of the people who supported us, and thank you for that, from Ford Foundation. Now, every time we went into a room and we presented this about the initiative, I was humbled by the fact that everyone in the room tried very hard to pronounce Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke. This is from the south to the north, from the east to the west. Others will say Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke, others will say Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke. But at the end of the day, the most important thing for me as a diplomat is that we managed to ensure the name of Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke vibrated throughout the UN system, vibrated throughout the south, the north, the east, and the west. Everyone now knew that there was a woman called Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke. And part of the things that makes me proud is that when Switzerland supported South Africa, it was the first country. When they supported us, they said in Switzerland, the first time they had a woman graduating from university was in 1965. And to them, Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke is not about South African, it's about the women of the world. Hence, I sing side by side, women of the world fight for freedom now. Now, I wish to thank the Institute profusely for this honor. This honor actually belongs to the young women of my time, the Klep Hoyers, and I wish to acknowledge them, because if we don't acknowledge each other, if you don't hear their names, you'll not know that there was a Nomfanelo Kota in the Eastern Cape, there was a Mahlengi Bengu in Natal. And talking about them, I want us to know them, because the erasure of women has meant for years that everything that women are doing, it is actually being somehow said is done by men. It is us who will ensure that we fight the erasure of women. And this awards, in my view, is part of fighting the erasure of women. What a beautiful way of celebrating my namesake. Thank you very much to the Institute. And I would not have done justice if I do not thank God for the award, but thank God again for giving us a Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke, because Charlotte transcended religious, academic, political spaces that were difficult for all of us, would have been difficult for all of us if we did not have someone like her who started the journey. I always say to people, and of course I'm a author wannabe. I'm launching my second book in September. I was supposed to launch the book in August, but I felt that launching in August, it means I'm just launching it for women. I want it to be the heritage. It's called The Forgotten Gender, Fighting the Erasure of Women from the Annals of History. It talks about these great women. I'm going to end there. I think I am a bit emotional and excited, and thank you very much to the Institute. Thank you.
They're very humble. She doesn't want to talk.
You know what I got now from the program director, Primero. They say I must only talk for 1 minute. I don't know, something, I think the team at the office have realized something about me. So they will tell me later on. They will tell me. Now I'm really going to honor you. I'm going to talk. I know who said this, but I don't want to name the I'm just going to talk only for 2 minutes, not 1 minute. 2 minutes. Shoki, because they have really put me down. Let me Pinaya by Tsepela Modimo, Levo Tsepeibola, Akata Dula Huluno, Harati Utamiliko, Thank you very much. Amanda, pass up. Pass up. Okay, good people, let me quickly say what I wanted to say here. Firstly, I want to say to the women of First, in fact, it is not selfish of me to be getting awards. Really, it's selfish. And I have to talk about it at the office. It's very much selfish. I'm not supposed to be getting an award. So for the women of First, God said to you, I know the plans I have for you. He declared so. He said, plans not to harm you, but plans to prosper you and to give you a bright future. And please take those words and follow them, because they are from our Heavenly Father. Now, most of the people don't know Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke was Reverend Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke. The husband, Marshall MacDonald Maxeke, was Reverend Marshall MacDonald Maxeke. That is what you should do. You should know, sorry, not do. What you should know. So that's, I wanted to start like that because I want to say to you, these two people have decided since they were at the University of Wilberforce, they decided that their weapons are going to be only education and religion for liberation. That is what they decided. And they did just that. They did just that. Okay, and I say to the women now, I say to them, Reverend Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke, to me, her relative, I talk about her as God's phenomenal workmanship or creation, because God knew from the youth of Charlotte what he wanted her to be. And it was just like that. She was determined like the father. She was resilient. Nothing could stop her to do what she wanted to do. And that is what she was. And we the family, truly speaking, we the family know this lady, our granny, to me, as an activist more than a politician. She transformed what they called political activities. She transformed them in to be in activism, and she did just that. I'm finishing, darling. I'm finishing. So I'm happy. I'm saying thank you very much, all the speakers who were here. You know, as if she was telling you, say this about me. Because you talked about education. You talked about selflessness. And that was what she was. And we as the family, to us, we know she told our elders that she went for education because she does not want to come and believe things which are not there. God alone will give her the wisdom to say what she wants to say. And thank you for all the speakers, because you did just that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. How many minutes?
Under the bus, she threw me. Under the bus. Thank you, Coco Olga. Phoebe, I'm not going to give you any instructions, just so come.
Good afternoon, everybody, and I am really all protocols observed. I'm very humbled to be in the presence of so many amazing people, and particularly women. Thank you very much to the Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke Institute for this honor. I'm really humbled. I think that the initiative to recognize women first, to recognize women that make a contribution in so many different fields, health, education, academia, authors, the arts, is an expression, and authors, our very young author as well, is an expression of just the amazing diversity of this woman. And I think that we are all inspired by your contributions and the wonderful examples that you set that makes it possible for other women to make a contribution and open the doors. There's a book that I recently read that's written by Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. She is now the Director General of the World Trade Organization, the first African woman to hold that position. And it was co-authored by Julia Gillard, who used to be the Prime Minister of Australia. And they make an interesting point about women in leadership, because I think that all of the women that we spoke about today are leaders in their different fields, from our grade 4 pupil who wrote the book to Dr. April, to Marlene, whom I was at the university with, to Charlotte, that I was in the Youth League with, and all of you are leaders in your own right. And they make a point about 3 issues about leadership. And the first one is that there is often we experience a glass ceiling, and we all know about the glass ceiling, that there are certain positions that women don't move beyond, and once you shatter it, we need to quickly make sure that we get other women through so that they don't quickly rebuild over it. Because remember, progress can be reversed. So we all know about the glass ceiling, and I think that in many ways, Mme Charlotte has shattered so many glass ceilings. It's just, you know, you can't stop counting. And I didn't know, Mom, about the fact that she was also a reverend. So she kept on shattering those glass ceilings. The second glass that they talk about in the book is something called the glass cliff. And I also didn't know about it. And what they said, that often when it comes to time, that often women are pushed into positions when at moments of crisis. And they use examples of, quite a number of examples in business. Examples in other circumstances, in politics, in international organizations, etc., where women are pushed into positions of leadership at times of crisis. And that's what they call the cliff, the glass cliff. And what you then have to do is to survive and fight. And in addition to all of that, you sort of like become the example of, if you succeed, then it's inconsequential. You know, other people did it. You build on the things of the great men that went before and the great men that's going to come after, etc., as we know. But that's the second form of leadership that they talk about, or the challenges that women face. The third one is the one that I really want to talk about, and which Mme Charlotte reminded me about, is what they call the glass labyrinth. And it expresses itself in 2 ways. So the one is that, you know, we're all in organizations, in the newsrooms, in political organizations, in academia, and women are sort of like they're there. You know, the secretaries, they are the administrators, they are the junior academics, they're in the health departments and they're not acknowledged, and they make things happen, but you never quite see them. And I remember the example when I was first appointed as this was 2005, as ambassador in Poland, 2005. And I went to, one of the things that you do is you go and visit your colleagues, especially the African group of ambassador. And so I went to this one North African ambassador's office and introduced myself and say, this is my name, I'm the new South African ambassador, I hope that we're going to be able to work together. And he says, oh, you know, we do have women in our embassy as well, because this is the third time that South Africa had a woman ambassador to Poland. And he says, just wait a little bit, I'm going to look for her. And then he said, no, come with me. And we went up the stairs and, knock on office doors, and we can't find the woman. The women in the embassy. And we looked around for 10, 15 minutes for this woman, and we eventually, in the basement, we found the woman. And this is how women often in our organizations and in institutions get lost in the labyrinth. But over the last couple of weeks, I've been thinking that women in leadership also face their own labyrinth. Because it's not just that women that come in often at entry-level position and they get stuck there. So you see that even men that come in as interns into an organization or in an administrative position, they eventually rise. But women sort of like just stay stuck in certain positions. But the labyrinth that women in leadership often face is of a different nature. And I think that Mme Charlotte's life exemplifies that, but also a challenge of the smashing of that glass ceiling in terms of that labyrinth. And the first one is, last night, someone used the expression called cancel culture. It's sort of like a modern day expression But the fact that women in history becomes inconsequential, that their contributions are not acknowledged, that the fact that women take responsibility not just for social reproduction, but also critical role towards the economies of countries. And that is part of the labyrinth that women find themselves in, and our role as the current generation who stand on the shoulders is to ensure that we take women out of the labyrinth and we find the way. When Charlotte, the other Charlotte, was talking about raising Mme Charlotte's position, and I think Dr. April, we spoke about it, as an international feminist and an international women leader, I was also actually thinking about UNESCO. A couple of years ago started a project which they call African Women in History. And then they have a map, an interactive map of the continent, and every country there's just one. And for South Africa, I think they had Mme Marya-Makeba, and I thought like, wow, so one out of, if you just look at the women that went to march on 9th of August 1956, 30,000 women. But there's one for every country. And I think that part of our role as the generations that followed is to make sure that we take women out of the labyrinth, that we smash those glass ceilings, and that we put women back on the agenda, and basically to say that the work and the contributions of women are not inconsequential. Part of taking women out of that labyrinth is also the example of Mme Charlotte around the unity of women and the unity of men and women. She spoke to church women, she spoke to social workers, she spoke to women, not just the royalty, but she also spoke to everybody. She spoke to black women, she spoke to white women, she addressed women from the Indian community. She recognized the importance of the unity of women. And that's also for us part of taking women out of the labyrinth, to be able to say that even though you may not be as woke as I am, but you have a contribution to make, and we acknowledge that contribution and we accept that contribution. The other issue that we learned from her example is working with men. A lot of in both Dr. April's thesis, but also Zubaida's book, the reference to how men acknowledge the role that she played. And I know from my own experience that, I learned my feminism from my mom, but I equally learned it from my dad, who was a pastor, and one of the things that I only years later understood it, used to say to my cousins, you don't hit your sister or your niece. Even if we played. And he said that if you hit your sister or your niece, you're going to one day hit your girlfriend or your wife. And he used to preach in church about gender-based violence. I mean, it wasn't known like that at the time, but he used to talk about how the most horrible thing is that you use violence against your members of your family, your wife, and your children. So when one talks about men as partners, for me, that is part of the legacy of Mme Charlotte, and taking both men and women out of this glass labyrinth that patriarchy has landed. On a lighter note, one of the things that I love about the example of Mme Charlotte, it's for me, I've done lots of things in my life. I'm a political activist, I've been a diplomat, I've just started a children's publishing company, I've done consultancy, I've worked in education, I've worked in youth development, etc., is that I found it very assuring that she was also an eclectic person. So if in her 65 years she can do so many things, I believe that I still can do lots more things, and I think all of us can learn from that example that yes, one door closes, a chapter comes to an end, and then you move on and a whole new chapter opens. And I think that that's the example of Mme Charlotte. And thank you very much to the Institute for this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ladies. Now we're going to move to our Lifetime Achievement Award, and this goes to none other than Dr. Phumzile Mlambo-Mxuka, who is now the outgoing United Nations Under Secretary General and Executive Director of the UN Women.
She was sworn into office 2013 and devoted her entire career in that time to issues of human rights and gender equality. Steadfast and progressive leadership during your tenure as the Executive Director at UN Women. Her advocacy for women for all ages has built a formidable foundation for the hashtag Generation Equality to be implemented in the lives and minds and really instilled of every rural and urban girl around the world. We are going to play a video of her receiving the award that has been bestowed upon her, Dr. Phumzile Mlambo-Ngcuka, and is the 2021 Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke Institute, bringing her up Women of First Lifetime Achievement Awards.
Greetings to all of you at the Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke Institute. Thank you for the opportunity to join you and to celebrate this day with you. And thank you for the award that bears her great name. She was a fighter, a leader, an educator, a social worker, a scientist, and a woman who was able to fight the intersecting issues of her time. She fought both sexism, racism, at the time when it was at its highest. And she organized communities and women to join her in the fight. It is inspiring to receive an award that bears the name of someone who has done so much in our country. She made sure that today was better than yesterday, and that tomorrow will be better than today. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, for the vote of thanks, we just first of all want to appreciate the time you've taken out of your very busy days, the time you've taken out of this really uncertain time during COVID-19, that you've braved the disease and you've come out. The Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke Institute would like to appreciate your efforts and the honoring this time today. For that vote of thanks, we'd like to welcome the Charlotte Mannya-Maxeke Institute board member, Moeketsi Maxeke.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As introduced, my name is Moeketsi Maxeke. I must indicate that I'm under tremendous pressure. I'm receiving several messages from many people saying, please, we beg that the vote of thanks must be short. And I'm not sure why people are panicking, because I've always been short. But we understand the period we live under. Ladies and gentlemen, maybe doing justice to what I was requested to do, let me then thank everybody else without mentioning their names, so that I stay true to what the request was. I was given a list of people that I must acknowledge. And I would want to request that for the sake of time, we might not be able to do just that. But I think I must, on behalf of the board, take this opportunity to thank all of you for, sparing your time and embracing this event with your presence, more so, obviously, in these trying times. But that be as it may, we were all here excited and grateful of the gift of life. The gift of life of Mme Charlotte, and the gift of life for all of us. To all those who were recipients of the awards, we want to say to you, continue breaking that glass ceiling wherever you are. As you do that, we all agree that our story should not end here, that our story should always continue so that even those who come after us can carry the baton and run with it. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank the CMMI board, CMMI ambassadors, but most of all, thank CMMI staff members, the people who keep the fires burning. The people who on their shoulders, or whose shoulders we stand, for the work they do, we must always thank them. I wish I could have called all of them to come here to the fore. Ntosh and the team, may you please ascend to the podium so that we thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said that already, I've broken one of the mandates that was given to me, and I'm going to break another. As the team comes to the fore, I want to, as a parting shot, there's a speaker, there's somebody who said in the podium that taking into consideration what would have transpired here today, a statement was made that the country is ready for a female president. Now I want to contest that view. And as I contest the view, before you get worked up, listen to me, and listen to me very attentively. The country has always been ready for a female president. And I can back this up with even science. As we are about to go or embark on elections in the next few months, you must give yourself time to look at who is registered to vote. And I will do easily, I will just give you a scope so that as you go back home, it could be easy for you to interpret it. But this is how things look like. In that voters' roll of the IEC, between the ages of 20 and 29 years of age, there's 2.2 million females who are registered in that cohort, and there's only 1.8 million males registered in that cohort. I continue. In the cohort 30 to 39, there's 3.5 million females in the voters' roll and 3.1 million males in the voters' roll. 40 to 49, Kironabao. There's 2.9 females registered and only 2.6 males registered. 50 to 59, females 2.4 million, males 1.9. 60 to 69, females 1.6, males 1.1. And when you look at the overall number, there's 30 million women who are in the voters' roll as opposed to 29 million. So I say to you, women have always been ready to can have a president. But the problem has been the division amongst women, the Pule syndrome, and something that Mme Charlotte would have spoken against in many platforms, and it's still manifesting today. But that was not what I was supposed to talk about. This is the team that I think we must give a round of applause to. And ladies and gentlemen, let me also take an opportunity to thank the program director for, effortlessly going through the program. I know you might have given people time limits. It might not have worked, but thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. And let me also, as we are to disembark There's just a request from, I think it's Dr. Malin, who has made a request to close this session for us with the rendition of the national anthem. Whilst Doctor is coming to the stage, as I said, we wanted to thank all of you, ladies and gentlemen. Can you give yourself a rousing round of applause? Thank you very much. As I said, messages. On the 16th of October, ladies and gentlemen, we are launching the film or the documentary of Mme Charlotte on the 16th of October. We would request that you follow us. Our staff members will give you our details. And on the 15th, it would be a Friday, right? We are requesting that every Friday, let us all wear the T-shirts that you see some of our staff members wearing, the Charlotte Maxeke T-shirts, so that we declare Fridays Charlotte Maxeke Day. Thank you very much.
If we can just all rise, because I think our mother, Charlotte Maxeke, fought for this anthem, because our anthem is about our diversity. Let us go in peace. Let us hold each other in each other's hands and hearts. And let's, by all means, always walk in each other's shoes. Nkosi sikaleli Afrika, malupa kamisu ponolwayo. Izameni tanda zoitu kosi sikalela tina lusapolwayo morena buluka sichabasa Yesu. Ufendise tintwale matswele usibuluke oh sibuluke sichabasa Yesu sichabasa South Africa, South Africa. Hy die blauw van onze hemel, hy die diepte van ons see. Oor ons ewige gebergtes, waar die kranse antwoord gee. So to call to come together, and united we shall stand. Let us live and strive for freedom in South Africa, our land. Viva Charlotte